Doc, need one. One roger. 521. You started me a card for a parking problem. And for your 23. Yes, that's for I'll get a 28 from one truck when you're ready. Go ahead. Here's a one truck, Boy Lincoln X-ray 985 should come back up and heading slowly. So you had 2000 Patrick Spalding. 10-4. If you can just put a little note on the log that I'm going to be leaving a note on his vehicle advising him to remove it. Fuck. Fuck.
Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining us again today. And today I have the lovely Belinda M Clarke, who is a midlife mentor and author of the book Pregnant Punk at 14, Empowered at 50. Thank you so much for joining us today, Belinda.
Thank you so much for asking me to be on your channel. Wow, it's an honor. Thank you so much.
So your book, you wrote that because, you know, you had told me that when you ended up in this situation where you were pregnant at 14, that was basically the start of a cycle of abuse for you. Is that correct?
Well, it's not so much when I was 14. It was more when I was 18.
Okay.
So yes, exactly. I was 14. I chose to get pregnant. I was a punk at the time as well, and my father was a vicar, and it all was very a tricky situation. And then I split up with my baby's father when I was 17, and I met on the rebound, basically. I met a guy who was 7 years older than me, and I fell head over heels in love with him literally a month, 2 months after I'd split up from my child's father. And I found myself wanting very much to have another baby, and all of this, and I was still only 17 at the time.
And that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is quite. It is kind of crazy when I talk about it now, and when I think about it, it's like, wow, all of that, and you're still only 17. And then I wanted a baby, so I got pregnant with him, and it didn't go down very well with my parents, and I was still living with them at the time, and I managed to find myself a house and moved into this house. I was still only 17, by the way, with him. And then when I was about 7 months pregnant, I really then realized that, oh, what have I done? I found myself in a violent relationship. So it wasn't just psychological, mental abuse, which when I look back had been happening more or less from the start. I was in a violent physical abusive relationship as well. And I was 7 months pregnant when I was hit for the first time. And that was very, very scary.
And then how long were you together with this person?
About about 4 years, but part of that time he was in prison, and so some of that time, although I was with him, he wasn't physically with me, and that would have been the perfect time to escape and end the relationship. And I did, and then got back together with him. So, yeah, which is very common. And then I found myself not being able to get out of the relationship as easily at all.
Yeah. So was he in prison for something other than abuse?
Yes, he actually was involved in a motor accident where he was drunk at the wheel. He didn't even have a license, and he was in a police car chase, and tragically he killed somebody uh, while he was drunk at the wheel.
So would you say that the abuse stemmed from problems with alcohol?
No, he was brought up in a very violent um, family, basically. His father, uh, I didn't know at the time, obviously, when I met him, but it was only afterwards that I found out that there's a history of domestic abuse, domestic violence, um, abuse not just against his mother, but also the children as well. And for him, even though he didn't like it, it was normal for him, and that's what happened when he was drunk, and he got drunk a lot. So yeah, it was very very normal.
Yeah. So, and in, talking with a lot of people during this series, we've obviously discussed a lot about how people who were in abusive relationships as children end up becoming abusers because it's, you just see this as normal, right? It's just the way that you act in a relationship. And honestly, before we started recording, you asked me if I had children. And I told you no. And I'll be honest and tell you that one of the reasons why I chose not to have children is because I am terrified that I will become an abuser. Because in our family growing up, like, you don't talk to people, you scream at people. And when someone does something wrong, the first thing you do is you lash out and you hit them. I mean, that's what you do. And I could see myself like repeating those patterns into adulthood, and I decided not to have children and figure out how to actually break the cycle. But that doesn't happen with a lot of people.
No,
So you were in that relationship for a few years. When you got out of that relationship, well, you said it was really difficult to get back out of it. How hard was it for you to leave the second time?
well, incredibly hard. It ended up with me nearly losing my life. Um, for me to be in that situation of like a waking up. It was almost like a waking up from a terrible dream. I found myself, I'd been in hospital, nearly lost my life, and then I found myself waking up at home uh, early hours of one morning, and I was standing over him with two carving knives, and I was literally like saying to myself, right, left. And I just literally like came to and thought, oh my God, what am I doing? So I crept downstairs before we woke up. And then I just sat there and I just thought, what am I doing? I'm willing to literally like kill him, to get rid of him, to get him out of my life, because that's the only way that I can see that he's going to be out of our life, and I'm willing to go to prison for it. It's like, what on earth are you doing? Obviously, I wasn't really thinking very straight because of the abuse and the life that I had found myself in, not being able to go out. I was only allowed out to work. I wasn't allowed out for any other reason. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody, any of my friends. Nobody was allowed round to our house. It was all a very tight little family unit. And he could do whatever he wanted, but I wasn't even allowed to talk to other people. So, and over the years, because we start to believe whatever we're told, I really, really believed that he was going to kill us, or if we escaped, find us, hunt us down, kill us then, kill our family, my family. And I started to believe it. So that was what I was really scared of. That was the reason why I didn't just leave, because there wasn't a just leave option from the way that I was living. And so this night, when I found myself standing over him with the knives, and I took myself back downstairs, and I was just like, okay, Belinda, you really have to do something now. That's it. It's got to this point where you just have to run away. So I waited until about 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I rang my brother and explained what had just happened, what I was thinking. And I was even saying to him, do you know anybody that can kill him, that can get rid of him, and just so that he's out of our life? I wasn't thinking that there was any other option. And actually I waited a couple of days until he was going out, and it wasn't 100% that he would go out, because sometimes if he thought that there was some suspicion, he got suspicious that maybe I'd be going out, leaving the house when he'd gone or something like that, and he just wouldn't go. So had to wait until the very last moment, and then rang my brother again and said, yes, he's gone. And then a rescue party came basically for me and took me away. And I was very willing, even though it was my house, it wasn't his house, and it was my house. And I was like willing to just leave everything just to escape and be safe. And we were taken hundreds of miles away to set up a new life somewhere else.
And then after you got out of that relationship, did you find yourself falling back into additional abusive relationships, or did you, realize what had happened and how?
Yeah, I was actually very fortunate in that because this wasn't a pattern for me. I'd not grown up in this kind of abusive family or anything like that. It wasn't necessarily a pattern for me. So I managed to see that this actually really wasn't healthy, and I with some counselling and therapy, I realised that this wasn't every man. What was quite interesting was that my eldest daughter's grandparents were very serious. They sat me down when they did see me, and they said, before you bring any guy home or anything like that. We want to interview him. And I was like, okay, I understand your concerns, but I don't think that will be happening. And actually, I don't think that I need that. I'm going to be, heading into relationships in a very different way. Very cautious, very lots of awareness as well going on. I want to be going with my eyes wide open and spotting any signs, because the signs were there for the last time. It's not like they weren't. I was just choosing not to see them.
Yeah, but it's truly sad that we actually have to go in looking for stuff like that. Like you said, with your eyes wide open, we can't just experience life and it'll be, good and happy, because unfortunately, it doesn't always end up happy for a lot of people.
No,
And
not at all.
there are a number of people who don't come out alive. And, do you think that if you had stayed with him, that he would have killed you?
I kind of do, actually. That's the thing, because the thing is, even though he might not have wanted to, in one respect, in another, he's very capable of doing that. And when I was with him, we shared a daughter, and when she was only 15 months old, when I tried to, it was not so much me leave him, he went to stay with his sister for a few days, and I saw that as an opportunity. Great, okay, this is it. You're not coming back. I'll change the locks. And unfortunately, he just ended up breaking in and using a knife on me, whilst also hitting me. And I was trying to defend him from getting upstairs, and he abducted our daughter, who was only 15 months old at the time, and ran away with her at knife point. And there really wasn't much that I could do. So, when you're dealing with such a damaged and wounded person like that, they're actually capable of anything, because it's like you're cornering a wounded animal and they're just trying to defend themselves. So I do. And I do know that my father was scared that he was just going to wake up to a phone call that we'd all been murdered in our beds.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it's a very real possibility for a lot of people, and it is a reality for a number of family members who do receive those calls. After you got away from him, how long did he try to find you? Or, is he still in your life because of the daughter you share, or?
No. So basically, I have no idea is the answer, because we went and started a new life far away. We changed our names and started healing and started a new life. And my daughter has not seen him since. She was literally just 3, so it was a month after her 3rd birthday. She can't remember him, and she doesn't actually want to have anything to do with him. She has a stepdad now, who she calls dad anyway, and he's a very positive role model. They have a great relationship. So she doesn't feel like there's any need for her at all to contact him or any of his family. And actually, I'd be very surprised if he was still alive. I have no idea, but I would be very, very surprised.
Yeah. So out of all of this, you have become a life coach, and you are getting ready to launch your Feminine Empowerment Academy. And now, I know a lot of women, particularly women who have gone through abusive relationships, that are either in them or just getting out of them, or have just gotten out of them, or have been out of them for a while and are still struggling. I know empowerment is one of the things that we're truly lacking in our lives. Because I know when I got out of my last abusive relationship, that I didn't feel like I had power over anything, because you spend all these years being controlled by someone else, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to get back your sense of self and your sense of purpose and your sense of that you actually have control over your life. So for the Feminine Empowerment Academy, how are you helping, or how are you hoping to help women to get their lives on track and to be, successful and happy and healthy?
Thank you so much for saying that and for sharing your own experience as well there. And what I want to say about the Feminine Empowerment Academy is that I'm very excited to be launching this, not for me, but for all the other women that I can help to be empowered. It's so important for us to basically have authentic confidence in our life and to create self-belief, because we don't really have those things, especially if we've been caught up in an abusive relationship. It actually took me quite a long time after I'd ran away, if you like, to start a new life. It took a long time of healing and of really finding myself and who I was. I did go to university because I realized that, wow, this was just down to me now, no financial help from either of my children's fathers, and it's down to me to provide. So I decided to go to university to get a professional career, and I worked in social work first for 10 years, and then I left that a little bit burnt out and decided to retrain as a life coach. And that's when another chapter of my life really opened up. Because when I was training as a life coach, the first year of the course that I was doing is basically all about yourself and healing and doing your own work. And that was the first time I'd really done any proper work on myself. I'd kind of hidden it before, coped very well, but hidden it. And here I was doing this life coaching course, and actually it was all about healing myself. So that was great. And that was, best part of 20 years ago now. And ever since, I've worked in that arena of coaching and mentoring. And 6 years ago, I decided to focus on the niche of midlife women, because I'm in my 50s and I just thought, yes, there's lots of things going on with women in the midlife, like menopause, midlife crises, empty nest syndrome, and I was relating to all of that. And then now, 6-7 years on, I've realized that I can help a lot more women than just midlife. So I'm not stopping the midlife stuff. I'm just opening the field of empowerment to more women, so that more women can have access to me and to my tools and my trainings and my teachings. So the Feminine Empowerment Academy.com is a website with different courses on there, private one-to-one coaching with me. It's got resources on, like blogs or audio, videos, and And it's a whole platform, a whole tool where you can go and start to find out how to be confident. And this isn't in a masculine confidence way, which is having power over other people. This is about learning how to have power with other people and be your authentic self and be confident. So not faking it and trying to be somebody else to be confident, but being yourself and creating huge self-belief so that we all have the power within us to excel in life, to grow, to learn, to be the best that we can do. And it's not about being the same as somebody else. It's about me teaching you how to be empowered as a woman, what your femininity means to you, and not your mum's or your sister's or somebody else's meaning of femininity. It's about you finding out what that means to you. For example, like for you, it means that you don't have children, and that's absolutely fine. So it's finding your feminine path without children and how that is. And that's you as your authentic self. And to honor everybody else and each other and all of our fellow women as well in the same position or similar positions. So I've also got a Facebook group that I'm launching next week as well, and that's called Feminine Empowerment Hive, like a beehive. And the idea for that is literally women coming together, like-minded women who want to empower themselves, who want to discover what their femininity is, what that means to them, and that want to literally be their authentic, confident selves without any pressure, without any criticism, and just a nice supporting place. So I'm going to be, as I say, launching that next week as well. And we're going to have a weekly online call so that we can chat, because these crazy times at the moment, it's all about separation. And actually, that's the exact opposite that we need as humans. We need connection in our lives. We need connection with like-minded people that we get on with. And that this hive, this feminine empowerment hive, is a hub to help women to do that.
I love that. I absolutely love everything that you shared.
Thank you.
Because honestly, you know, we need to, like you said, we need to be together. We need to connect. We need to spend time with like-minded people, with people who are trying to work on bettering themselves. And we need to spend time working on ourselves, which a lot of us, particularly as women, we don't spend the time working on ourselves because we're trained from childhood that it's our responsibility to take care of everybody else, but we're never taught how to take care of ourselves. And a lot of people make us feel selfish if we try to do something for ourselves. And I'm always telling people that self-care is not selfish. So I truly love, you know, the idea of the Academy and of the Facebook group. You know, and I really want to, you know, thank you for your time today, talking to us and telling us your story. And you know, the point of this series is I'm calling it Messages of Hope. And one of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I want people who are watching this to understand that there is hope for a better life. There is hope for greatness on the other side of adversity. And just because you're going through something or just because you've been through something, you don't need to let that define you. You need to pick up the pieces of your life and push through and move forward and, you know, empowering yourself to be a better person, to have a better life, to have a good relationship, to have a good job, and knowing that you're worthy of that is truly, truly important. And, you know, I love the work that you do. And, you know, thank you so much for being a light in the world and for, you know, sharing your truth and your blessings with everyone. because it's, people like us that are, we're the change makers. We're the ones
Yeah,
that are helping
absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
world heal.
You're very, very welcome. And you know what? What you just described is basically my book. So Pregnant Punk at 14, Empowered at 50 is my message to the world of hope. So that it doesn't matter what situation you find yourself, what adversity you're in, there's always hope, and you can find yourself a better life if you look for it and you want to have change. And just before we end, I just want to say I do have a happy ending to my story, because I am now married to the most wonderful man, and he's really, really in touch with his feminine side as well. But he also has a very strong masculine side, and there's no abuse at all, which is fantastic. So you can definitely break the pattern and find people, partners out there that don't have to be a repeat of the partners you've had before.
Yeah.
And I live in a great place. I live in the middle of the Mediterranean on a little island called Ibiza, and I love it. I love it. I live in nature and I have a wonderful life. And my daughter that I had when I was she was due on my 15th birthday, and she arrived just afterwards. So my daughter, when that I had, has literally just had a, her first baby, a baby of her own. And so now I'm a nana, I'm a grandparent, and that is opening a whole new chapter as well. So, yes, definitely, definitely, I am living hope.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so nice, that we can share these messages with people and let them see that, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but sometimes you really just have to crawl to the end of the tunnel and get through all the crap and, work your way through it. And, there is a possibility for a wonderful life. So, thank you again for joining us. And for anybody that's watching, I truly, implore you to check out Belinda's work. I'll share links to her book, to her website, to her Facebook page, and everything in the video description. So you can find her, on social media, and check out what she's doing. Join her Facebook group and work towards empowering yourself and helping others to become empowered. Because by doing this, we're working actively to break the cycle. And that's one of the points of doing this series is, bringing more awareness, because I want people to understand that this is a huge problem. And there are a lot of people who are going through this, and people you may not even realize are going through these things. They're struggling alone, and they feel like they have nowhere to turn or no one to talk to. So, educate yourself and learn the signs to look out for if you're not the one that's in this situation, if you're an outsider looking in, if you're a parent or a grandparent or a sibling or a friend. Look for the signs and learn ways to talk to the people who are in the relationships to help them to get the help that they need. So thank you again, Belinda, for joining us. I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Crystal, and bless you for your work.
Yeah, so we'll see you again some other time, I'm sure.
Yes, great. I'd love it.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.